of all, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a video where we don't even really talk about tea. This is stuff that relates to me, but it's tea for some of you. It's not tea, it's real life, but I want to talk about it because
right off the bat, all tea is someone's real life. It would do her good to remember this in the future.
despite all of the cease and desists and all of the requests by them to remove it, nothing I had said in those videos was anything more than public record. And I was not coming from a this is a tea thing. It was more investigation, like investigative journalism in a way, where you're just trying to.
I just want to point out, remember that she says that they're investigative journalism.
It was in the middle of all of that accountability moment on YouTube, okay? And I had made this a comment that there might be lawsuits headed down the way, but it could not be like from James's side, because I did have sources that were connected to him. And it says,
Hi, love. Wanted to shoot you a quick DM. I really appreciate you supporting me and always seeking the truth for the past year. I've seen a few videos, and it did mean a lot that you saw through the BS that was going on. That being said, there was a lot more that happened behind the scenes that is slowly coming to light, and no one knows the actual truth. A lot of the things you believe about it aren't true. The truth will come out in due time. I'm just staying silent and minding my business until then. I've noticed in a few of your tweets, you've said that you're speaking to someone close to me, and I'm wondering who that is. I won't tell them you told me, but I'm definitely concerned as my close friends were asked to stay silent on this. If you need to know anything or have any questions, I prefer you just message me. I hope you're having a great night. Hey James, thanks for the message. I'm happy to clarify anything that I've reported that aren't true. I am a mama, and I'm here just to stand up for kiddos being mistreated. One of the biggest things I was told is there was discussion about you suing Jeffrey and Tati, but you simply didn't want to make things worse, which I understand. Is that accurate? It's not one of your friends I'm speaking to. It's someone else. I can delete the tweet I made about the Tati stuff. I don't want to put them because they haven't really said much other than they love you so much and are so frustrated that Jeffrey is getting away with this. They want Tati to come out and admit it. Right there, he makes it clear that he's curious who her source is. And the fact that he says, I won't tell them that you told me, unless that source is telling everyone that they are Katie's source, if James found out who the source is, it's obvious that Katie told them. I mean, I don't understand how he can sit there and say, I won't tell them that you told me, but I'm going to make it clear that I know that they're the source. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me, but that's neither here or there. It's obviously clear that he wants to know who her source is. That's why he ended up in her DMs.
So I sort of responded and I clarified like where I was getting the information, and then he told me, I'm not suing anyone. I wish I did a long time ago, but it would not have been Tati I was suing. And then I was talking about how the source said that they urged him to.
Right there, she makes it clear that she told him who her source was. She obviously willingly gave up this information just by being asked, mind you. No one had to promise her anything. No one had to even offer an explanation. All they had to do was say, hey, who's your source? Oh, my source is... Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine being a source for her. That must suck, knowing that you can be given up at any moment. If you've ever given Katie any information in the past and you're seeing this video, just know that if she has kept you as a secret as being a source up until now, chances are that may not last. All people have to do is ask her.
Sue Tati or Jeffrey for defamation, but you didn't want to. And they said, and then his response was, the Westbrooks were a pawn in the game of chess. I know you hate them, and it seems like they did it all, but it's not the case in any way, shape, or form. Of course, there's part of me that wants Tati to come out and say her piece. This was before she uploaded her video. But she was pushed to make her video last year, so if she ever does speak up about it, I truly want it to be from her heart and with no one else pushing her one way or the other. I said, do you mean Tati was pushed? And I said, in full transparency, I don't run narratives. So if I...
Remember that. In full transparency, I don't run narratives.
Get something wrong, I correct it. So if she's not responsible, then obviously that needs to be known. And he said, but because of a few videos you've posted have really hurt the Westbrooks with false information, and I want you to be really careful, because if there's any lawsuits going on, it won't be from my end. That's all I can say. I tell you all of this, but it's so much deeper and serious than anyone actually knows. Tati was pushed, and that's all I can say, because the way it happened is her story to tell, and her story only, not mine. and if it ever does come out via her, you'll understand why I say that. She still posted the videos, so I'm not delusional in thinking that she's innocent angel, but knowing what I do now, it makes a lot of sense. And I said, I have removed most of the videos from that time. What can I do to help you?
Right there. I've removed most of the videos from that time. What can I do to help you? He offers her no explanation, no evidence, no proof of any of his claims. He just comes out with this very vague sort of explanation of, listen, there's so much more to this behind the scenes than you realize. So, maybe you might want to remove some videos. And she's just like, okay, what can I do to help you?
So then he said, from a son to mom, I promise you that it's being handled behind the scenes, and hopefully the truth does come out one day. I pray for it every single day, but regardless of another Dramageddon that would vindicate me, I promise I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm thriving, working hard and mentally stable, and that's all I can ask for. I think you should stop posting and delete anything bad about the Westbrooks, and I say that because I want to help you. Capital Y-O-U. Please, please, please just trust me.
There is his whole explanation for everything he's requesting of her. Just please, 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 just trust me. I'm trying to help you. Nothing else. He offers no other information for her, nor does she even really appear to ask.
At this point, I am feeling very threatened, as though he's coming into my DMs, trying to pepper me and coat me and make me feel like he's doing this because he cares. And I am feeling like there's an ulterior motive here. I'm starting to feel like someone has sent him. That
right here, she says that at that time, she feels like he's appearing as if he cares. But she's starting to feel like there's another reason. He has an ulterior motive. Maybe someone else sent him there. So right there, she says at the time that she's already seeing through this, allegedly.
He is not doing this because he cares, because why would he care? Why would he show up in my DMs out of nowhere?
Great question.
And start telling me details about what was going on behind the scenes.
What details? I see no details.
So he goes on and says, I know your videos really struck a chord with them, though. Like I said, if the full story does ever come out, you will understand why this whole situation was so severe and dark. They were viewed as the monsters for the last year by the internet, but they have had to live knowing the truth this whole time. But they were forced to stay silent, and I think any video, no matter how many views, would start to bother me eventually if I were in their position. Now, the video that
He just says right there, your videos really struck a chord with them. So obviously they were pretty upset. Now, why would James care that they were upset about this unless he's in communications, like he's on good terms with them? The time frame in which he did this and how adamant he is about, listen, I'm just trying to help you here, okay? You just please trust me without giving any information. He's obviously there for a reason, okay? And the reason is not Katie.
I said, are you in communication with her now? And she said, yes, and I have to stay in communication. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, like me staying in communication with them is vital to get through this drama. If it starts up again, her and I are on the same team. And I said, okay, so are you both in agreement about the direction this is going? And he said, and my leak, which I know now is so-and-so, could F this up very badly. And I said, I deleted that. And he said, correct, thank you. And I said, since you are here, what can I put out? Anything?
Right there, she asked, what can I put out?
And then he told me basically what to write in a tweet. And so we worked on a tweet. And he said, I would just say, like, when everything happened last year, it seemed like Tati and her husband wanted to take their friend over vitamins, but now it's clear that they were simply pawns in a big game of chess. I apologize to them for what I've put out there and hope that a checkmate is coming soon. And so then I wrote to
just pay attention to that, what he told her to write.
him, and I shared a tweet, and I said, last year when Tati Westbrook uploaded her video, Bye Sister, I believe her motives were related to vitamins. However, after spending time speaking with people involved, I realized now that Tati was used as a pawn in a big game of chess. I basically used his language, and I said, I've come to learn the situation is far deeper and a lot more dark than anyone could have ever suspected. Tati uploaded that video but was urged to put out Bye Sister. I truly apologize for drawing those conclusions. Additionally, I hope her checkmate is coming soon. And then he told me to please remove after speaking to people involved. And I said, that's really the core issue here, is that they feel like you're getting information from someone in my camp and I have a leak and therefore it cannot be trusted. And
Right there, it shows it. Oh my God, if you are a viewer or follower or a subscriber of hers, or God forbid, a member of hers, you were sold out. Your trust in her to provide you with accurate information was just sold out over nothing. Okay, she had no evidence of any of the things she was saying, of this new narrative she was spinning for James Charles. James offered her no evidence, no proof, no information. She barely even asked any questions. And she just so easily and quickly was willing to flip the whole script, flip the whole narrative, just because he asked her to, just because he showed up in her DMs and said, hey, listen, I think you should do this. And she did. She sold you all out. Okay, you cannot trust her with information if this is what she does with your trust.
I was freaking out, wondering if one of my friends was backstabbing me, only to find out it was my blank, of course, just looking out for me. And I said, okay, I'll remove it.
See, even right here, all he had to do was say, please remove speaking to people involved. And she did. She removed it.
Earlier is that I have to work together with Tati and James if this chess game ever comes to an end. And regardless of what happened last year, trust is the only thing that will allow that to happen. So I wanted to DM you to protect you from getting in trouble and also clear it up and give you some insight. So it was like, after all of this time, he basically gives me all of this information about what's happening.
He gave her no information. None. He gave just, listen, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that you will be made aware of, hopefully someday, because someone might make a video about it. That's all he said. That's all he gave her. That's all it took for her to flip the script. Okay, that's all it took for her to lie to her subscribers. That's it. And I know I'm about to call over 130,000 people here idiots, but if you still trust her after this, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I mean, because she is not going to put your trust as a priority. She's not putting her viewers, her subscribers as a priority. She's putting her relationships with her perceived relationships with bigger YouTubers as the biggest priority here. She does not care if she lies to anyone, if it means that she's getting on someone else's good side.
I told him that if I got it wrong, because at this point he had me convinced that I had her so wrong, that I had the situation so backwards, that I should do everything in my power to correct it. So I said, if I can change things, if I can flip the narrative, it's fine.
Right there. If I can flip the narrative, if I can change things, it's fine.
And he says, no, she has to be her own voice. Those tweets were great. And he wrote, I think for your own safety, you should not talk about them. Full transparency, there was a lawsuit pending and they want you to just not mention them, good or bad.
Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want people to just not talk about them, good or bad? I mean, especially if they're already in the public eye. Of course, you don't want people spinning their own narrative or flipping the script or whatever on their own. You want to be able to control that.
They did not ask me to speak to you. I reached out on my own.
Obviously, they did ask him to speak to her. I mean, that is so apparent.
But I wanted to make sure you are safe and protected. And I said, but there is no lawsuit. And he said, so you don't have to listen.
Obviously, there's no lawsuit. She said earlier in the video how she received cease and desist letters from the Westbrooks. Obviously, the fact that they didn't sue her, there was not a recourse they could take.
Listen to me, but I recommend not saying anything. And I said, lawsuit. And he said, there is, trust me. Please just trust me.
There it is again. Please just trust me. That's all it took for her to sell you all out, was please just trust me.
And I said, how does speaking positively about her damage this? I'm confused. And he said, it doesn't at all. Just trust me. Don't upload a video. And I said, why? Everyone's talking about this on YouTube. Everyone. There are tons of channels criticizing her right now. And I said, I have an attorney that represents me, and I don't understand how if I went on my channel to share my thoughts as a commentator exercising my free speech, how that could cause a lawsuit. Unless there is a court order telling me to be silent, she can't silence people. Does that make sense? And he said, it does make sense. You can do whatever you like. I'm just trying to help. And I said, I understand, but she has this coming from a million places right now. She can't pin this on me, period. And he said, I agree. And I said, it feels like a threat when you say that to me, and I'm being very honest. Tati has huge drama channels talking about her, bringing far more exposure to her than I am. And he said, I'm not threatening you. I'm trying to help you. You can do whatever you want.
There, she says, it feels like a threat. He comes out and says, I am not threatening you. And he's not. There is nothing about this that is at all threatening. It may be nefarious sounding, saying how, listen, there could be a lawsuit. There was a lawsuit, just trust me, okay, without offering any evidence of this fact. But it's not a threat. He's not saying if you post anything, they will sue you. I will sue you. He's not saying anything of that sort. So it's not a threat.
And I said, I'm trying to understand in what context a lawsuit would even be started based upon public records. Additionally, the video upload would be in her favor. And he said, I have no idea. I'm not their lawyer, and personally, I think it's best to not get the law involved with any of this for the same reason I didn't sue Jeffrey, but they are their own people and I can make their own decisions. They have mentioned it to me before, so I just wanted to let you know and try to warn you. That said, I'm sorry if I came off as a threat. There was absolutely not my intention at all. I was simply trying to help you get to know this. From this, still feeling very uneasy. I put out the tweets and then I put out a video basically pivoting my entire belief system about Tati and all the details I had uncovered about her. And I never once said I didn't like her as a person.
She just said that she put out a tweet and video pivoting everything that she believed, just because he asked her to.
I even did a video on it. So there was so much question about all of this. At first, I pivoted, and then my subscribers got so angry at me.
Because they saw you change your whole outlook without any inclination, without any evidence, without any explanation.
Why are you changing your tune about Tati? No, she's not a good person. They were so angry at me.
Rightfully so.
I'm not saying that James manipulated me by any means, but I am saying that I have now found out that he did not come to me on his own volition.
You said earlier in the video, though, that you already suspected this, that you did not think that he was there just to be nice, that someone had sent him. You can't now suddenly act like, oh, now I know differently, because you already did kind of know differently to begin with. And he didn't manipulate anyone. All he did was ask. If you want to call it manipulation, then what you're saying is you are so willingly and easily allowing yourself to be manipulated, when in fact he did not manipulate you at all.
Told that James and Tati sent him to me to get him to persuade me to take my videos down about them. And I was told that they are extremely happy that James was able to get those videos removed because they were not, through whatever recourse. So my question remains, and continues to remain, why would he lie about it?
Okay, of course the Westbrooks are happy. They got what they wanted. You willingly and easily gave them what they wanted without them really even having to try. I'm guessing that their cease and desist probably didn't go all that far, so then they thought that they would appeal to your ego or your perceived sense of niceness or something. So they sent James Charles, and like a charm, it worked.
And why would he come to me under the guise of pretending like he cared and he didn't want me to get sued, when in reality, it seems as though Tati and James were using James to clean up his mess.
They were using James, or maybe it was an agreement between James and the Westbrooks. I don't know. I honestly don't care about any of that situation. I apologize if you do, but I just don't. So I don't know if they were using James or if James was there because it was a three-way agreement. However, he didn't show up there to be nice to you because he wanted to be nice to you. And you're an idiot if you think that. He says right off the bat, he wants to know who your source is, who the leak is, okay? And then his next step is to get you to remove things and to change your narrative. And you did. Every reason he gave for being in your DMs, every request he had for you, you accommodated him. You accommodated him without him even having to try. He didn't even have to give you much information other than to say there's stuff going on behind the scenes. Okay, now your question here is, why did he show up in your DMs to be so nice and everything to you? But you're asking the wrong questions. Anytime someone wants something, they're going to be nice to that person. That's just the way humans work. So right there is your answer. What your question should be is, why did the Westbrooks want your video information removed so badly that they went to any kind of extremes? Now, for granted, these aren't very extremes, I guess you could say. But the Westbrooks did kind of make an effort here to send someone to approach you and to ask you to do this and to achieve this. So your question really should be, why did they want this information removed that badly? Because, I mean, let's look at the channel sizes. I mean, they have millions of subscribers. Their videos get millions, tens of millions of views, okay? Yours are shit compared to theirs. So why are they so concerned over your information in these videos? That should be your question. At least that's the kind of question that a real journalist or investigative journalist would be asking.
And Tati Westbrook and James Charles were conspiring together to draw some sort of conclusion about Jeffree Star to pin Dramageddon on him. Now, I don't care what you believe about Dramageddon. I don't know if it was Jeffree, Shane, or Tati. I think all three adults conspired together. I don't believe any 38-year-old woman can be forced to do anything. And I also don't believe...
But you're trying to say that you as a 42 or 43-year-old woman was manipulated into doing this or threatened into doing this.
So long story short, somehow I was used.
No, you weren't. You were not used. You willingly did what they asked of you. They didn't promise you anything for doing this. They didn't manipulate you. They didn't tell you some tall tale. They just simply gave you no information and asked you to do it, and you agreed to. That is not being used. That's being an idiot.
Whether you like Jeffree or hate Jeffree, or whether you like James or hate James, or you like Tati or you hate Tati, all of these people, in my opinion, were conspiring against each other. So James gets falsely accused of doing stuff, and then now you have Tati.
That's probably the only somewhat correct thing she said throughout this entire video, and also the only somewhat intelligent thing she said throughout this entire video.
But what I don't think is okay, under any circumstances, is a large creator with 20 million people coming to a small creator, a relatively small creator like me, and telling her not to speak about.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with what he did. And yes, he is a large creator. And yes, you are a small creator, especially in comparison. He has every right to show up in anyone's DMs and to ask anything he wants of them. It's whether or not the other person complies. So he had every right to ask anything he wanted of you. You had every right to deny him his request or to willingly and happily fulfill it. You chose the latter.
All felt really ugly. And I feel like James has a platform to do so much better, and I feel like he used me. I feel like he lied to me. I feel like he said he cared when he didn't. I feel like after I now...
He did. He did say he cared when he didn't. He did use the fact that you would probably give in to any request he made because you are this small creator. You should have known better. You really should have known better.
Now know that he was sent to my channel, or sent to me by the Westbrooks. Allegedly, this was not about worrying about me or wanting the best for me. This was about helping the Westbrooks get something removed that they didn't want out there. That was literally public record. All of this is public record.
Okay, if you are this easily tricked, if you are this gullible, if you are this easily fooled and led to believe, then you are really in the wrong profession. You should just step away from the computer and go do something that's a little more your size. If you can't see through human bullshit better than this, then you should not be dealing in human bullshit.
But I'm not okay with being used in a game, and then I'm not okay with him dumping all of this information to me and then telling me, but don't say anything or else you'll get sued. That's an unfair place to be put in. It's unfair to have someone...
You were not put in that place. No one said, don't say anything or else you'll get sued. They said, if I were you, I wouldn't say anything because lawsuits could arise. And again, if you're that easily lied to, then you are in the wrong profession. You should not be trusted to giving people the truth behind situations and stories if you cannot be trusted to see through the bullshit to get to the truth.
You and tell you all this information and then say you can't say anything and then tell you that if you do, you'll get sued. That's someone using their platform to intimidate and to threaten. And whether he believes that he was doing it out of compassion, I don't believe anymore. Because I know from my sources that James Westbrook was happy that James Charles got me to take down those videos. And he was allegedly...
you shouldn't have needed a source to tell you that that was the outcome or that was the intended outcome. You shouldn't have needed a source to tell you this. You should have suspected this. You should have picked up on this. You even claimed to have kind of suspected that he was there to begin with on behalf of someone else. But you still think that he was there looking out for you. I mean, why? When people who like you and are friends with you, and I mean you in general, not you personally, they don't have to look out for you. They don't have to make these efforts and these steps to look out for you. So why would someone who has nothing to do with you, who gets nothing out of it, suddenly show up looking out for you? There's always a reason behind it. People always have a reason for doing the things that they're doing.
Sent to me by the Westbrooks. James, I tried to reach out to you. I tried to clear this up. I'm not okay with this. I hope you do better.
Okay, James, you're an idiot. Because if there isn't some grand scheme of things, which I'm suspecting there really isn't, other than the Westbrooks just wanted whatever information Katie had up to be removed, if there isn't something more behind this, then you just validated Katie and her channel. And you're an idiot if you don't want her taken seriously. If you don't want her information to be taken seriously, then you don't validate her. And you just did. Okay? You just did. You just gave her everything that she wanted. Okay, now I just want to wrap this up with pointing out how obvious it was how Katie sold out her subscribers just because she was asked to. She wasn't specifically asked to sell out her subscribers, but she was asked to lie on Twitter and in videos to change the narrative, and she did so just because she was asked. She sold everyone out because she was asked. Okay, I'm done. One last thing I wanted to add to this video. If any of the viewers have any knowledge or experience or education in data privacy laws for the state of Minnesota, can you please reach out to me via the channel's email that is ekcpeoplesuck@gmail.com. Thank you.